All right, I'm getting pretty close to being at maximum Fortify. I have 51 Fortify stacks, and I think there's probably only like 3 more points I can get. I can get 1 more Fortify stack by getting a +1 to Frenzy on this ring, 1 by getting a +1 Frenzy on this ring, and possibly 1 more out of the Lethal Pride. My Lethal Pride has 5 Fortify stacks on it, but there's probably one out there where you can get more Fortify stacks. So we got 1 Fortify, 2 Fortify, 3 Fortify, 4 Fortify, and 5 Fortify. Now you might be able to get 6, maybe even 7, but I think 5 is about as high as you want to go without going way out of your way, grabbing stuff you don't really need. Now, I don't really like Badge of the Brotherhood, Replica Badge of the Brotherhood, because it doesn't allow me to use the Perseverance, except for on bossing. If I want to put it on for bossing, I can. But you can't really map with Perseverance and Replica Badge of the Brotherhood. Now, no one probably remembers that melee hits with stun give Fortify on this belt, but melee hits with stun give Fortify. And my Cyclone is strong enough that it stuns basically all the enemies in regular maps, which means it eats all of my endurance charges. Now, on bosses, that's not that big of a deal. On bosses, you can hit them all you want. You won't stun them, so you won't lose your endurance charges. So you do get to keep them up for bosses. But for regular mapping, you're basically at no Fortify. I mean, you're at no endurance charges, which means you're not getting that extra Fortify, which means why are you using Badge of the Brotherhood, right? So I don't think Badge of the Brotherhood is best in slot for this type of a build, but it is pretty good. If you happen to get a Replica Badge of the Brotherhood and you don't have to pay the 2 Divine for it, you might as well use it, right? Unless you get something better. But since I am not able to use Perseverance, I am using Rothloss's Coil. Now, Rothloss's Coil, you get 10% more damage here. You can grab Volatility, which is going to give you 57% more damage there. And Rothloss Coil is doing 45% more physical damage. Now, that's not that big of a deal, and it's also not that new, but it does give you a huge variance on your physical damage, 459 to 13801. And with your Mercenary, you can grab the Toe, which will make your damage lucky. So when you have a wide range of damage possibilities, making it lucky is extremely strong. Typically, people do this with lightning damage, but you can actually get a pretty big variance with physical damage. So the Rothloss's Coil might actually be more maximum output of damage than the Perseverance, but the Perseverance has the quality of life of having Onslaught, which offsets the use of these boots. Now with Rothloss's Coil, I'd probably actually remove these boots because walking around town is painful, right? You put the belt on and it kind of fixes that problem even with the boots. It's a little painful, but it's nowhere near as painful as having the belt on, right? The belt is kind of a piece of shit. So I don't really like Badge of the Brotherhood, Replica Badge of the Brotherhood, so I'm probably going to get rid of it. I might actually think about doing a Ashes of the Stars in that bad boy, because the quality is going to be very strong for my Cyclone of Tumult, which does 5% more attack speed per stage. So an Ashes of the Stars will give me more attack speed, and more attack speed is always strong. But we will see. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going from here. Let's take a quick look at my skill tree. I'm grabbing this bad boy, which gives me 14% spell suppress with Grace, Impales with Pride, last 2 additional hits, and then a little bit of life recovery with Vitality. Not that big of a deal, but it is the reason I am splashing Vitality into my life pool. And for this one, 5 Fortify. We're grabbing that bad boy, which is 2% reduced duration of ailments inflicted on you per Fortify. And when I'm at 51 Fortify, that makes 100%. But when I wasn't at 50 Fortify, I also was able to pick up one of these for 50C. How this was 50C, I just don't really know. Maybe no one uses this, but modifiers to ignite duration apply to all ailments, and this has 20% reduced ignite duration right on it, plus corrupted blood. So even if I wasn't at 50 Fortify, it is still capped out. And take a look right here, 108% reduced duration. And that's all that's really important. Just grabbing a cluster jewel. Strike leader is great. Range, the melee strike range increases Cyclone a ton. And that one's just okay. There's better ones. But I needed that in order to get the mana efficiency and spell suppression. This hits so good, I kind of wish it was 3 passive instead of 2. I got the 35% increased effect, 3 strength, 8 intelligence. That is a bonkers hit. It's just kind of shit that it's only 2 passives instead of 3, but whatever. This is also a pretty good hit with the 6 chaos. So those are pretty dope, and that's the only reason I'm really running a cluster jewel. I am super starved for skills, right? So being a level 100 would be pretty excellent with this build. I could grab this entire crit node, or I can grab this sword node, or I could put +3 to strike range. There's so many things I can do with a few extra points. I don't even have the 10% chance of hits with impales to reapply the impales. I need points so bad, it's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of silly. And I am obviously anointing that bad boy. So that's the tree. Now, whether or not Master Steel with Cyclone is better than something like Inspirational, which is 30% increased effect of non-auras, I think Inspirational might actually be better and stronger if I'm using this, because I'm at like 80,000 armor and evasion. And already increasing the aura effect of grace and determination is going to boost that even higher. So probably like 100,000 armor and 100,000 evasion, which is going to pump up the damage of the perseverance, and that's going to be pretty hot. But let's just run a map with Rothloss's Coil and get those Fortify stacks up and be nice and thick. We're running one of these bad boys. It's like extra special.
This fool's errand, I beg of you.
And I really don't like walking this slow, right? Christopher Walken is not very quick.
Your body is a canvas. Choice, after all.
I really want one of these guys who has sweep, but give them haste or determination, right? Preferably haste. Give him haste. Why can't he have haste? Now I just have to take his items.
This will be easier if you hold.
8 Fortify, which puts me at... How am I extending mana? Oh my god. I respect my skills, and my Cyclone is now 1 cost. Oh, that is brutal. Alright, I think it's the volatility. 130% multiplier. And melee fizz. Where's my melee fizz? 130. Okay. Okay. Pulverize. 130. 130. This is the close combat. Close combat is 140. Okay, I just put on close combat. Let me rechange this. So annoying. Let's do 2 green, 4 red. 2 green, 2 green. 1 blue, 2 green. 2 green, 4 red. Cyclone. Impale. Awaken Brutality. Volatility. Pulverizity. Wait, Awaken Impale. Not close combat. You are too expensive. 140%. That's kind of nutty that it was that perfect. Melee fizz. 0% cost. Okay, let's get back into it. I like to record before I test things out, right? I do it live. Because why the fuck not? I just got this whole thing set up and I'm just testing it out for the first time. Now my bitch is pretty strong. I like my bitch. She's got Blunderbore because she needs to be big and thick. I like them big and thick. This bad boy and this bad boy, I'm cursing up, right? I'll curse all enemies with this double curse, Temporal Chains, and Vulnerability. And this will give me at least 3 charges on my curses. This bad boy is letting my skills, I think I'm forking. I'm forking with this Kinetic Bolt. This gets me lucky. This gives her 2 power charges, which pumps up her curses. Again, this will apply every single curse to every boss. And this is just blinding enemies so they hit me less. Pretty great little combo there. She's not really doing a lot of damage to clear it up. But if my Impale node is pumping her shit up. She's getting a flat, like, average 60 fizz damage on every one of her hits. And she's triggering my Impale, so she can do quite a bit of damage with me. Great little helper. Great little paid whore. We do fuck. Like, that's why she's a she. See? Look at her. See, 8 endurance charges, 8 frenzy charges. It works just fine. Let's focus on that a little bit more, right? And if you ever get trouble, you can hit your aura. We're blasting through. We're at 8 and 8. Defense is pretty solid. Offense is pretty solid. .21 attack speed. That's gonna pair great with your vulnerability curse. Not vulnerability. Poacher's Mark. Your life sustain is huge with Poacher's Mark whenever you're fighting a unique. I think it has to be unique. Maybe unique and rare, but rares die too quick. The damage is pretty solid. It's probably, with lucky damage, it's probably like 5 mil. I don't know how to put the lucky damage on my build. I mean, I could force it, I guess, on Path of Building. It's like custom shit. I never figured out how to do that, right? I'm not a big fan of Path of Building. In the sense that me building a build on Path of Building really doesn't mean that much. Those are numbers, and numbers don't always accurately portray how a build feels. You may get a build that has like 30 million damage and another build that has 10 million damage, and the 10 million damage feels better. There's various reasons why. Cyclone being one of them. Cyclone is just a lot easier to control when you're bossing, and you can move around while applying damage, so you're applying damage more common. That's the same thing with Volcanic Fissure. It's just the damage is so constant that even though it looks low, it's actually pretty high. But other skills, you know, like Lightning Strike, super high damage, but there's that little sweet spot where you have to sit at in order for it to double up on the damage, and so that's kind of annoying. And it kind of leads to misleading damage because you're not always in the sweet spot. Unless you're a god gamer, right? Then you always are in the sweet spot. I hate desks and chairs. There's just no way to ever get permanently comfortable. Alright. Now let's put the belt on and run another map. And you will watch the endurance charges drop off like a fucking log. Like they are pieces of shit. Let's try to find another sparkly white. Kind of weird. You could probably search for it. I forget what they're called, so if I do have one, I'll search for it. I don't know why it put me in T13. There is one. What do you call it? Originators. So let's see if I can do that. Originators. Look at that. You can actually search for it. That's pretty spectacular. Yeah, that should be fine, right? Oh, no, it's not fine. I like to pump them up. Pump them up. Pump them up. Yep, that's fine. I don't know what fracturing means, but that's totally fine. And we're going to be doing a lot less damage because Rothloss's Coil is gone, but we're kind of set up for Rothloss's Coil with all the maximum fizz damage. But without the coil, you know, it's not quite as high. See my endurance charges dropping off? It's not that big of a deal. You don't really need the endurance charges for mapping. The endurance charges are mostly for bossing. But having the endurance charges drop off like crazy because of perseverance is super annoying. It just doesn't stay up. And I'd rather it stay up all the time and be a little bit smaller than it not being able to stay up all the time, but when it is up, it's huge, right? It's better to be able to maintain uptime versus having a big uptime. I'm talking about penises, guys. Surely you knew that. A rock hard 11-incher is better than a flaccid 13-incher. This is just science. Yes, by inch, I do mean centimeter. For you metric boys. I mean, obviously it still works with Perseverance. And you can do all the defensive stacking, right? You can get your defense, your armor and evasion flask, and you can get these numbers huge. I'm not even doing anything to pump them up, and they're both at 30k pretty much. But you see, most of the time I'm at like no endurance charges while I'm mapping. Hopefully we'll get a boss up in this bitch. Hopefully this isn't Path of Exile 2. There's always a boss in the bitch. I still die. No clue what. Every now and then, I'm guessing it's something that goes through my evasion, goes through my block, and after I've selected a bunch of these mods, it's still able to whack me off. But it is hard to whack me off because I am very tanky. Where's this boss at? There. Wait, is that the boss? I kind of don't like this map because I almost could never find the boss. Oh, vitality. We want vitality and maybe determination or haste. How about that? You don't even have. You're not even worth my fucking time, dude. Look for ignore fizz, ignore chaos, ignore chaos. I can do it. I can do it, Doug. Oh, I got this F2 button that I never press. I don't like mechanics that make you push a button. I wish they'd have it so it would allow you to just auto, once you're full, you use it. Cause I don't fucking hit buttons. I'm a Cyclone build. My left hand is wherever my left hand wants to be. It is definitely not on my F1 and F2. Unless I named them that. But those would be very weird names. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I don't mind being scorched. I'm scorching hot. I know this shit. But on T16, the damage between the two is so the same that it doesn't really matter whether or not you're at full endurance charges all the time. And since you're usually at full endurance charges with the boss, but the downside is with the boss, you do gotta pop that war cry. Gotta pop that war cry at the start of the fight to get your shit pumped. Oh, map is complete. We didn't even notice the boss. So let's put this back on, and let's just fight. What kind of bosses are we sitting at? Go to the stuff tab. Let's do a red boss. And do these guys, can we pump these up? I can't remember. Yeah, that's fine. Extra physical damage is fire. Plus 25% increased damage. That might not be fine. I haven't fought this dude in a while. It should be fine, but less recovery rate, I'm totally fine with that. That one's much better. Now, I think it's probably better without the endurance and frenzy charges and just doing your 44. But I'm greedy, right? Like Tate McRae says, you gotta be greedy. There we go. 8 endurance charges. Now let's fuck them up with the flask. I don't want to test whether or not I can survive that. I do want to test if I can survive these. I can't.
Die quickly.
I fucking hate this shit. It's so stupid. Now, if I had AWSD, it would be great. So I could actually control my character properly. Did you really just fucking start all aggro like that? That's just rude. Cool. Cool. Great boss design here. I'll just let him finish, right? I don't like dodging balls. I'll use my 6 portal defense, you know what I'm talking about? Just let him kill me. Let him have his fun. You done with your fun? Okay, I'll come back in. War cry. It's not that great with the RePliCaVag coil and all that shit. I'm not a big fan of the RePliCaVag of the Brotherhood. I think getting up to 51 fortification versus 41 is probably not worth it. You can get much better amulets, and then you can use your perseverance, and you can stack your armor and your evasion, which just kind of feels way more synergistic for the champion. Though RePliCaVag's coil is pretty dope, right? Pretty dope. And let's go to the POB. Let's go to the POB. Our DPS, 3-point-something million. Let's take a look at these skills. We want to get rid of close combat because we can't actually use that. So let's put Awaken Melee Fizz. Now, what is that item called? It's a tongue, right? Tongue. No, it's a toe. It's a toe. Toe. Well, there's a lot of fucking toes in this game, dog. There it is. Let's add this to the build. Add to build. And then we're going to go over to configuration. And we're going to put these bad boys in there manually. Fortify. Where is the Fortify? Where is the Fortify? Fortify. Where is the Fortify? I am fortified. 51 stacks. And Frenzy charges 8. Endurance charges 8. And now I'm going to swip out my amulet. Swip it out. Amulet. Let's put the tongue on. Wait, the tongue is only allies? I don't know how to do lucky damage. So I have no clue what lucky damage would be. I can pull this out onto Excel and get a percentage difference and get that. So what you would do is you just run 10 attacks between the high and the low. You do random number, and then you do random number twice, and then you pick the highest out of those two. You would then add them up and compare the two sides to get your difference. And that's too much work, right? We don't know. We don't know. But now let's put on put the belt on. Perseverance. It's like right about the same. So perseverance is pretty damn good. But if you want to do something other than perseverance and RePliCaVag's coil, obviously the only other really upgrade from those two is going to be Mage Blood. And fuck Mage Blood, right? No one wants that shit. And I think a better amulet is where it's at. I don't really think that this is providing me enough benefit using Badge of the Brotherhood. So I'm going to retire that bitch. And I'll check you later.